We'll give 1 minute to start, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء المرسلين وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Assalamu alaikum jameen wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you again for joining us for this session on Thursday. Tomorrow is again the day after night of Qadr, so we'll not have a session tomorrow, but inshallah after that, that means beginning Saturday, we'll have session all the way till Thursday, inshallah, continuously. So tomorrow is the only one more day which is we want to have a session. We started this hadith from the fourth Imam, Ali Zain al-Abidin, Sayyid al-Sajidin. It is a long hadith whereby he talks about the rights of different parts of the body, rights of different, members of the people you come across, of the family, also, even to the extent that somebody who's a, companion as you are in a gathering, your jalis, even the rights of some of the acts of ibadat. We looked at the first session, just part whereby it talks about ibadat itself, and then we looked at salat last time we met, and then today we'll just look at Sawm, at fasting, and then come to the discussion what we had promised about, how to spend the night of Qadr, inshallah. So just look at this, just simple hadith, as we said that this book has been, this particular hadith, Sa'at al-Hukuk, is part of this book also, which we are talking, Combat with the Self. It is also found in in also Tahf al-Uqul and other places. It's widely discussed hadith, because many scholars also have discussed about it. You can go online, Islam, you can find a number of scholars have discussed about this particular hadith in detail. There are 2 books which are in detail in English. Of course, in Arabic and Farsi there are many, but 2 books in English already are there, which we gave the reference last week. So we will just look at the hadith quickly as part of our discussion, this book, and then come to the discussion. So Imam says, وَحَقُّ الصَّوْمِ أَن تَعْلَمُ أَنَّهُ حِجَابٌ ضَرَبَهُ اللَّهُ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ عَلَى لِسَانِكَ وَسَمْعِكَ وَبَصَرِكَ وَبَطْنِكَ وَفَرَجِكَ يَسْتُرُ بِهِ مِنَ النَّارِ فَإِن تَرَكْتَ الصَّوْمَ خَرَجْتَ سِتْرَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكَ. It's a beautiful way of discussing about fasting. I'm surprised that why do scholars don't start discussing this hadith at the beginning of the fast. No, when we discuss about the ayat, which is ayat 183 of Surah Al-Baqarah, but this immediately we can say it's actually haqqu sawm. It is the right of your sawm and talam, that you should know anna hijabun darabullah. It is a shield, it is a veil. Hijab, all of us know the word hijab because we use it, right? That anna hijabun darabahullah. Allah is the one who has put that hijab, has covered that kind of veil. On what? Allah lisanika. So fasting is a veil over our tongue. And Allah is the one who has put that tongue over us. No, that veil over our tongue. Allah lisanika, wasamika, on our hearing, wabasarika, on our sight, and then on our stomach, batnika, wafarajika, and on our private part. Yasturuka bihi minan nar. The idea is that this way Allah will shield us, will protect us, will cover us from what? From the fire. When you find annar, or just the word annar, if you find in Quran or in Hadith, it refers to the fire of hell, right? For example, رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ protects us from the nar. Here, nar refers to the fire of Jannah. So, min al-nar. فَإِنْ تَرَكْتَ الصَّوْمَ clearly says, if you abandon the fast, you will have torn Allah's protective veil away from yourself. So Allah is actually kharakta. Kharakta is actually to tear away. For example, sometimes if you take a handkerchief or cloth, if you just try to tear it off, tear apart, it's kharaka. Kharakta. It says kharakta, that you, that yourself, by abandoning this thing, you are tearing away that sitrullah alayka, that shield which Allah has decided. So it's a very important, a very good way of talking about fasting. Of course, we will not discuss in detail just now, but the only point I would like to make here, that before we discussed this thing right earlier about the internal fast, the external fast, spiritual fast, or the physical fast, right? We discussed about this thing earlier. So you can see before talking about batan and faraj, because batan is stomach. So we have, for example, in fasting, we cannot eat and drink. And also faraj, sexual relations are not allowed, or anything to be sexual is not allowed, right? So these are the things which make mubtilas, which makes fasting batil, right? But before that, Imam says, ala lisanika or sam'ika or basarika or batanika. So it says at least three things, our tongue or on our hearing and seeing. So you can see before even this hadith could have been used when we were trying to get the answer about why, for example, fasting, internal, external, and is that you can see before even we reach to the external fasting, we are supposed to manage our internal fasting through controlling our tongue, through controlling our hearing, that what we are hearing and what listening, and also seeing that what we are seeing. So it is quite an interesting thing. You can get discussion, detailed discussion, as we said, those two books we discussed, and there are also a number of scholars who have covered this particular hadith. Today we come to this thing because somebody had asked, I hope the sister is there, somebody had asked that how do we spend the night and what kind of mindset we should have. So I've taken trouble making 3 slides just for this thing. Last night after coming from my lecture, I said I must do this thing. And inshallah, this will be posted, but I'm not sure if it will be posted by today. It's already written, but you can take a picture of it, if anything, if you need it now. So all of us know, right? Allah says in Quran, Laylatul Qadri khayrun min alfi shahr. Laylatul Qadr is better than 1,000 months, right? And if something is better like this, then preparation also should be accordingly, right? For example, if you say that you are going to, if, for example, Toronto, you are going to Kitchener. So it's only 1 hour's drive. So your preparation will be according to that. But no, from Toronto, you are driving all the way to Vancouver. No, that is far, right? It will take you 3 days. You are going to stop. So your preparation will be also different when you go to Vancouver driving and when you go to just Kitchener, right? So this is it, that if a night is better than 1,000 months, it also requires proper preparation. And the hadith, which we already discussed earlier from Al-Baqi, Man ahya ayatul qadri, kufrat lahu zunubahu, walau kanat idha nujum as-sama wa masakil jibal makial bihar, right? That if a person were to keep awake on the night of Qadr, if he has sins as many as the number of stars, or the weight of what mountains, or the volume of, for example, of seas, even then he'll be forgiven, right? So keeping that in mind, we have to also make preparation for that. And that's why we're discussing this today, is that take a good rest during early or late afternoon. A person, you have to see yourself, that you take a rest early or late afternoon. For example, let's say nowadays namaz time is almost 8 o'clock and you want to go to also our programs at the mosque, then maybe take a rest, for example, from 4 to 5, 4 to 6, for example, or 2 to 4, 2 to 5, according to how much you will need to keep awake. So that is most important. Number 2, of course, get domestic chores done before sunset, because sometimes the family demands certain things, whether it's children or whether it's spouse or just family requirement. Okay, we need this thing, Suddenly you find family is so busy with other things, they forget, oh, we don't have milk, we don't have this thing, we don't have this thing. You come home and say something is missing. So you just come home from your work, you're rushing back to the grocery store. So that should be taken care of. Not that last moment, for example, it takes away time, right? Perform ghusl if you will not be home after sunset. Ghusl required after sunset. But if you are not going to be there after sunset at home because you are at the center, then of course we do ghusl before that, the niyat of what night of Qadr. Inshallah, Allah will accept that. No, perform, okay, determine the charity that takes care of the needy. There are special hadiths, right, which says that on the night of Qadr, give sadaqah, take care of masakin, take care of people who are, so determine that thing, which charity you are going to. You've done already. We have given charities at the beginning of the months, during the month, right, continuously. But it's also on that particular night, decide that which charity you want to give. So that, for example, this is a charity which is worthwhile, or this is a charity I can reach out. Even at night, even if at night, for example, if I just sit on my computer or my phone, I can reach out to a person and say, okay, on my behalf, this is it, please give. I'm just e-transferring you, right? So decide about that. Decide where you would like to give your sadaqah also on night of Qadr. Because one is helping the masakin. There's also hadith about sadaqah, no charity. Number 3, eat light and healthy food for iftar. Now, this is unfortunately, people just don't require. For example, last 21st night, if you've seen the menu at JCC and also here where I am, both of them had halim. Now, it's a good food, right? But all of us know it's not the right food to keep awake. It's a tasty food, and I know the mu'mineen who are sponsoring, they mean well. They want to give the good food to mu'mineen on such a great night, which is understandable. Their intentions are good, but it doesn't go in with what we are planning. So keep that in mind, that the food which we take is healthy and light, which will help me to keep awake. And this is something everybody misses out, because now we are fasting a whole day, something comes to you, whatever you are given, you will take it, right? So this is it, that in the planning, this should be very important. And of course, decided where and how long you would like to be at center. So you try to decide whether how long you would like to be at the center and which. There, for example, of course, in some places, there's only one center. But mashallah, GTA or London or maybe other places, there are a number of centers, right? So you decide which center you would like to go. You check their program, which will rhyme with with your own kind of liking. Is important. Who the speaker is, what are the kind of things. So decide about that, and also how long you want to stay. You want to stay the entire night, or you want to stay part of it. This should be decided beforehand, because then accordingly you'll plan yourself. So this is as far as planning is concerned. Now, how best to spend the night of Qadr? Allah says, تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَالرُّوحُ فِيهَا بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهِمْ مِنْ كُلِّ أَمْرٍ سَلَامٌ هِيَ حَتَّى مَطْلَعِ الْفَجْرِ. The angels and the spirit descend therein by the permission of the Lord for every matter, right? فِي كُلِّ أَمْرٍ. That means all the affairs of ours are just, decided, and the angels and the spirit just descend therein, for every matter, right? Salamun hiya hatta matla'il fajr. It is in peace. There is peace till the emergence of dawn. So this shows that we have to keep awake till dawn. Even Quran is alluding to that, because there is peace till dawn, right? So first is, we are starting, as I said last time, right? That Laylatul Qadr begins the moment azan of Maghrib is given. So say your Maghribain at awwal time, followed by nafila of Maghrib and nafila of Isha, istighfar, and tasbih zahra. These are the minimum things which is important, should be there. Istighfar, tasbih zahra, and nafila. Nafila of Maghrib. Now this is the beginning. You are starting the night then. So they say that always, if the beginning is not correct, then what follows also will not be proper. So as we are saying in namaz, it should be done properly. Maghrib, nafila of Maghrib, Isha, nafila of Isha, right, tasbih zahra, and istighfar. At least this should be done. Try, because you are starting. Recite Al-Qadr and recommend du'as iftar. There are du'as at the time of iftar which we recite, and Surah Al-Qadr, we do that especially now. Number 3, have light and healthy iftar, right? that will allow you to keep awake. That just see what you know, your own physiology, you know your own body, what are the things which will work for your body. That's very important. Do not spend a long for iftar or in socialization at that time. Usually because, mashallah, I've been fasting the whole day. Now we are eating and friends are there, we are sitting. So we can spend easily half an hour, 40 minutes, depending how long your center allows you to do that. So we take our sweet time. No, that's not the time. Have your iftar, go back and start your amal or what other things. Let's not, waste a single minute of that night, right? So don't spend a lot of time in this socialization or iftar. Be at local center or in a family get together to perform the basic amal in person for the night. The basic amal, what we mean is, for example, the amal which we use for the Quran to keep in your hand and on the head, and the short dua which are there after that. Those basic amal, try to be in a gathering. It's very important. Either in a center or if you're away from center, you cannot go, for example, to the center for any reason, then your own family or your friend circle, right? They should be there. Because it is said that in a gathering, for example, when people spend time together for Jamaat or for Amal, when one person is sincere, if one person does things so well and Allah likes it, because of that gathering, everybody gets benefit. It's a very common thing. For example, if you take any kind of sports, whether it is soccer or cricket or anything, you find that there's a team, right? But if one person shines, then the entire team wins. No? So it's very important that you can have somebody who is sincere there in your gathering, and because of him or her, others also benefit. So at least those basic amal which are there, try to perform in a center or in a family get together. Listen to a spiritually inspiring lecture or engage in a religious discussion about the different aspects of Laylatul Qadr. It is important that which kind of lecture we listen to at that time. A lecture which will inspire us for the rest of the night, which will remind us what night of Qadr is, which will bring about spirituality. So either listen to that lecture, if you have access to, for example, the Qadr lecture, you listen to that lecture, or just different, or even, for example, engage in discussion. Sheikh Abbas Qumi, rahmatullah alayhi, who has compiled Mafat Janan, he says a very important thing there. He says that after mentioning all this amal, he says, my teacher used to say that one of the best deeds to be done on the night of Qadr is mubahasa. That means a religious discussion, that you get into some kind of discussion and wonder. Take one aspect, for example, of Laylatul Qadr and discuss about it. That what are the merits of this? So even that is important. So this will help. This helps persons mentally prepare for that now. Number 7, take a brief break after performing the basic amal. Once you've done the basic amal, or even for any long dua, for example, it's always good to take breaks. It is important that we do that now. Modi needs that thing. You cannot just continuously do things. What happens at the end, which is also important, you will just be so tired that you are just waiting when the night will be finished. That should not be the case. In fact, we should have anxiety that the night should not finish. We should plan ourselves in such a way that we should not be happy that night is over. No, in fact, we should be worried that this beautiful night with all these blessings is now going away. For example, this evening, as we do amal, as we see the last moments of that night, we should be actually grieved, because now next Laylatul Qadr, only if God gives me life, then I'll see it. Who knows, right? So that should be the planning, right? Ensure to avoid haram and makruh things during breaks or for the entire night. Of course, this should be for the entire month, but especially on the night of Qadr. There is no question of haram. There is no question of makruh also. Let's try to stay away from. And then there are sunnat namaz, for example, will be recommended, right? For instance, if you are doing nafila of Ramadan, there is 30 rakats on 21st and 23rd night, or 20 rakats on 19th night, or those 100 rakat namaz, or if you've got qaza, anything, you can do that. This is the time, as many namaz as possible, you can do that, right? Decide which parts or items of the extended amal. So there is a basic amal and then extended amal, right? You plan to perform during the night. Now, you don't have to do everything. Now, what you find in our books is just even a fraction of what you find in other books. If you take other books, for example, I discussed about it earlier in one of the sessions that I have got a book on وَالشَّهْرُ اللَّهِ فِي الْكِتَابِ وَالسُّنَّةِ. No, the month of Allah in Quran and in all the hadiths, right? Which is about 879 hadiths, almost 900 hadiths are there. So there you can find there are so many amal mentioned there. No? So this is extended amal. So something which is known to us, Munajat al-Mu'mineen, Dua Joshna Kabir, Dua Abu Hamza Somali, the 3 surahs, 29, 30, 44, Dua Makram Akhlaq, Dua Tawbah, short duas of Sahri, for example. If you see, look at our book, Manual of Ramadan Devotion, there are about 4 to 5 short duas of Sahri. You can decide what you want to recite. Now, for example, let's say Joshna Kabir, you can decide that I want to finish Joshna Kabir over 3 nights. So you do 33, 33, and 34, for example, you can do that. Or, for example, Dua Abu Hamza Somali, I want to do over 3 nights. So you recite 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Whatever, you just plan yourself that what would you do it, especially if you're doing it together as a family, then you can plan or do it well, right? Have a list of people you would like to pray for. This is most important. People forget about it. So often people need our du'as, right? They tell you, please pray for us. Please remember me in your du'as, no? Because somebody else's du'a is accepted. When you pray for someone else selflessly, there's a sincere du'a, right? If I pray for myself, of course I'm in need. What choice I have other than praying? Because I need it, right? But when I pray for others, I don't need it. I do it sincerely for somebody else now. So have a list of people you would like to pray for. So these include, besides your parents, for example, include the names of people who ask you to pray for them and people who have not asked you at all. They will not even ask you that you pray for, but you know that that person is in need. Let's say, for example, you know there is a girl who got married 5 years ago. And you know somehow that she does not have a child, not because out of choice, maybe they are trying, but they don't have it, right? So you realize that, for example, you come to know that such a person needs some kind of need. There's somebody who has been looking for a job for so long, he's not getting it. There's somebody, for example, is having problem in his business. There's somebody who's having problem, for example, in family. You somehow came to know about those things, right? Pray for them sincerely. Even that person doesn't know. You pray this on the night of Qadr. So make the list of people you are going to pray for them, right? And once you do that, just before you pray for that, recite 2 rakat namaz, because Allah says, "Wasta'inu bis-sabr was-salat." No, they try to seek help through patience and prayers. So you say 2 rakat namaz and then pray for them. That, Ya Allah, I'm praying for so and so, and take their name, actually pray for them. That really helps, because Allah will say, imagine on such a night when I have given him a promise of giving him 30,000 for one action, he or she precedes others than before that. No, that selflessness will really be liked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See? So keep that in mind. And then, of course, number 11, this is also we miss out because of all the kind of rituals. Reflect on your past and painfully remember the disobedience, sins, and wrongs committed to self and others. People sometimes don't want to look back, right? Because, oh, I was such a bad person. I did this kind of guna. I did the. I know it's painful. It's not. People don't take joy into that. We don't take joy into remembering our past, especially when things are negative. But no, this is the night. Let me recall. Where did I disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Where did I, for example, encroach on somebody's right? When did I, for example, backbite someone? Let me start remembering that thing, note it down also. And then we pray to Allah sincerely that oh Allah, I seek your forgiveness for this disobedience, this sin, this encroaching of rights. This is what wrongs I've done. I seek forgiveness, one by one. So we realize this, we are not doing just istighfar as a ritual. No, we actually are pleading Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness. We are actually beseeching, we do this thing as if you are plead. Sometimes you not want something from someone so much, how much we plead, right? This the same way we will plead with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala this thing. And of course, number 12 is that let us make sure that we should not miss the Tahajjud Salah, Namaz al-Shab. That this night it shouldn't be missed out. It's very important, And if you can possible, spend good time in Tahajjud Salah. Even if you can, plan yourself such that 1 hour before Fajr, give to Tahajjud Salat. And then we have a book also. There's a app and also book of Tahajjud Salat. I think all of you know. There are some du'as that are so beautiful, so moving, is mind-boggling. Inshallah, when Allah gives us the tawfiq, we will discuss sometime in future those du'as in detail. These are really moving du'as, very beautiful and powerful du'as. So this is the night to read those du'as, understand this thing. Until that time, that if you do these things, these 12, 13, 14 items we discussed, then I can assure you, most probably you will see tears in your eyes, and that tears of fear, or the tears of regret and all those things, that is an indication that inshallah Allah has accepted our du'as and amal. Now there are some common questions people ask. Now, should I say Maghribain in Jamaat, which is quick and does not allow time for Nafila, or should I say in Furada? The answer is say in Jamaat. Okay, it's a discussion on its own, but just a short answer I'll give you. Is it fine to rest during the night when the body feels tired? Yes, indeed. In fact, there's a beautiful hadith from Imam Islam says that the soul sometimes has a kind of tendency that it wants to do something good, but sometimes it does not. It just does not have that kind of ability. So maybe your soul is going through that stage that suddenly you find that you cannot now. So if you need to rest, for example, then plan yourself in such a way that you do the basic amal and important things, then rest, for example, for an hour or like this, and then again wake up, and then, of course, continue. Now, what happens, some people have also problem that once I go to sleep, I can't wake up. Then what should we do? Then, of course, what we can do during the time when you feel tired, then that is the time you can do light things, doing tasbih, for example. Just sit on your table or on a reclining sofa, for example, and just don't sleep, but just sit there, and just do tasbih at least. So the tasbih, or you can listen to, for example, a dua somebody reciting. That way, at least you're not doing, but you're just taking rest also at the same time you're not sleeping. Okay, is it better to perform extended amal at a center or at home? This question comes often. What is good? Should I spend my time in a center or at home? Now, everything has its what benefits and advantage, disadvantage. For example, if you think that by being at center, you'll be able to keep awake compared to home. If you have home, you'll just go to sleep. So then, of course, a person like that should spend the time in center. But if you think that at the center, you will not have that personal time, that private time to reflect on myself, to cry, to have tears, to have regrets. I can't do in a public, right? Because everybody sees me. So then, of course, you should take time off from the center, come home, or come to a neighbor near the center, for example, if your home is far, and spend that time. You need that private time. It's very important. During the whole night, certain time should be there, whereby you and Allah out there only, nobody else. It's just your time. So it depends, see your situation. Right? What should we think as we take the names of 14 Masumin? This also sometimes people say, Bika ya Allah, bi Muhammadin, bi Aliyin, bi Fatima, bi Hassani. As we take 10 times, what can we think? There are a number of things you can think. For example, let's say when you say bi Muhammadin, right? Take one quality of the Prophet. Prophet was truthful. Prophet was Amin, right? Trustworthy person. Prophet had great akhlaq. Our Quran also talks about him. So as you are saying, bi Muhammadin, you can also bring in your mind that, Ya Allah, I would like to also imitate the akhlaq of Prophet. So please inspire in me that I can do that, right? Take one quality. Bi Aliyin. Imam Ali was known for so many things, bravery, about his eloquence. Just look at Najib Balaga, peak of eloquence, right? So Allah, give me the ability that I should be eloquent in my presentation like this. Now you can think, be Fatimata. Maybe I don't practice the hijab which is required. If not me, maybe my daughter or my sister or my aunt or somebody whom I know, I really love that person, but at the same time, she does not keep hijab. So be Fatimata, Ya Allah, for the sake of Fatima, inspire my family member to also practice those things, right? So these are things, each Imam has some kind of positive quality you study before that, and keep in mind, inshallah, since we are taking their names, that will happen. Is it better to follow a learned scholar online or participate in a gather or basic amal? Again, nowadays, because since post-COVID, what has happened that people have learned that now we can just sit home and see what is JCC doing, so we follow. What is it? Again, the answer is what we said earlier. For some amal, you should be physically in a group, physically, it's very possible. Because we just need one person there, sincere, and then that will help to be in a group. So I thought that at least common questions people might have. If you have any still more questions, please feel free. Again, I'm just bringing those things slide. If you want to just take picture of these things, feel free. Any question? There is something on the chat. I don't know if it's a question or. Yeah, there is no requirement which order you go for amal. You can follow any order as long as you decided what you want to do it. Any other questions? Okay, so if you don't have any questions, today is the last night of Qadr. So please let us remember each other in our du'as, especially pray that we can continue, giving presentation, conducting classes or courses, whatever it is at the academy, so we can continue serving in different ways. And tomorrow again, we won't have a session, but tomorrow is Friday. Saturday onwards, inshallah, until Thursday, we'll continuously have a few sessions. During those time, if you have certain, for example, requests, if you think that if I can cover it, I'll see it, because I also have lectures in the evening, so I'll try what I can do. Any other questions and clarifications? Thank you very much, inshallah. Inshallah, see you, on Saturday.